Hey, are you angry right now? You should be. There's a lot to be angry about. Another question. Are you feeling, I don't know, alive? Because you are. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you are a living and breathing person. Another question. What the hell is going on with your libido? Do you even have one anymore? That's T. If you're like, Aliza, what the hell are you talking about? You are freaking me out. Don't worry. We're just having tea. It's a tea party. Hello, and welcome to our brand new show, Astrology with Aliza Kelly. I'm your host and your spiritual friend, Aliza Kelly, and I am so happy that you're here. Wednesdays are our tea parties, and this is the very first one. Each week, I'm going to bring you 2 new episodes. Every Wednesday, we're going to have a tea party. This is where we unpack different parts of astrology that actually shape your life, like what Mars is doing in your birth chart and why it matters. And then every Monday, I have your weekly brew, which is where I decode the most pivotal astrological events. We explore the theme of the week. This week is time to fight. Plus, I share personalized horoscopes for every single sign, so you'll always know what is in store for the week ahead. Also, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting Astrology with Aliza Kelly. If you haven't already, take a minute to rate, review, and follow or subscribe to our show. I know it's early. I know you're like, but wait, I don't know if I like it yet. I promise you're gonna like it. And if you don't like it, I'm gonna make you like it. I'm gonna make you love it. Your support is going to help other people discover our show. Plus, I love reading all of your comments and building our community together. Okay. Are you ready? Of course you are! The tea party begins right now. Welcome, my darling friends, our beautiful community, to the first ever tea party here on my brand new potty pod, Astrology with Aliza Kelly. At these tea parties, we are going to tea on everything and anything that you care about as it relates to astrology and manifestation and magic and tarot and just, all of the things that we care about. We're going to steep deep, if you will, if you please, s'il vous plaît, about all of the things that you have been wanting to know but have been too afraid to ask or have not had a place where you're going to be able to get them. And just so you know, we can cover anything and everything here, okay? There are no rules. We are lawless. Fuck yeah. So just let me know in the comments and in your stunning 5-star reviews what you want to talk about. Again, nothing is off the table at these tea parties. These are for us. These are for our community. So let's explore everything together. Is that a good plan? Yes, it's a good plan. That's what I say to Tallulah, my 2-year-old, every day. Is that a good plan? Yes, it's a good plan. And she's like, no, it's not a good plan. But I'm like, yes, it's a good plan. Okay. Now this week gives us the perfect reason to talk about Mars, which we are all going to be feeling so much of. The planet of action is moving into Aries, the sign it rules. And when a planet of any kind returns to its home territory, we really get to understand the raw energy of this celestial body. So Mars in Aries is really like pure, raw life force energy. It's impulse, it's drive, it's passion, it's movement, and it's heat, honey. Over the next few weeks, everyone is going to be feeling that shift. The pace of life is going to be accelerating. We are definitely going to be having issues with patience because we want it now, we want it yesterday. But Mars moving through Aries is going to push everyone to confront the fundamental question of what are you willing to fight for? Every single planet in your chart describes a different dimension of your human experience, your self-actualization journey, your personality, your timing, right? The moon is your emotional inner world. Mercury is thinking and communication and cognition. Venus is love and values and money and connection. Mars is kineticism. It represents the surge of adrenaline before a life-changing moment, how we use our adrenaline to create life-changing moments, and the physical awareness that something requires action. Something requires a first step. Mars helps us shift ideas from the mind to the body, which is perfect for the card that we pulled this week, which is the Ace of Swords. We pulled Ace of Swords in our Monday episode in the Weekly Brew. And this is really the edge of the mind and body. That's what the sword is doing here. Mars rules the impulse to pursue desire, the courage to defend yourself, the drive that pushes you through towards and to resistance. So in astrology, Mars is how we assert ourselves. It reveals how we handle our anger, how we respond to conflict, how we express our sexuality, and how we pursue ambition. And Mars in your birth chart shows the engine that propels you forward when something matters to you, when you care, when you give a damn, okay? When people connect with their Mars energy consciously, no matter what sign it's in, Mars becomes a force of courage, a force of initiative, a force of progress and change. But when it is unconscious, when it's suppressed, when it's not fully integrated, it could erupt through conflict or power struggles or even destruction. Or what I think is a worst case scenario, it shuts off, right? It just shuts down. We feel like we don't deserve to own our desires and our motivation, our autonomy, our sexuality. We feel like we are just going to have to be at the mercy of others. We lose our power, we lose our agency, we lose the belief in ourselves. And at different times in our life, we have all been there, right? We've all felt like we don't deserve to have a place at the table. And I hate that for us. I really, really hate it. And I want to make sure that we never feel that way again, which is why we are taking this opportunity right now to learn about our Mars, figure out how to integrate it, and make sure that we are never going to find ourselves in a position where we feel like we don't deserve our motivation, our desire, our libido, our sexuality, what turns us on, right? We have passion, we have purpose, we got to do things. We deserve to do things. We are alive, right? So that is what the goal of today is. And you can listen to this episode right now and then also return to it again and again and also send it to someone who may need a reminder that they really are that bitch, right? They can do anything. This episode is for now. It's for the future. It's for always. It is going to be something, it's going to be in our toolbox so that we can make sure that we never find ourselves in a position where we shrink ourselves again. Okay, but can we talk about the trappings of gender for a second? Because when it comes to Mars and actually connecting and working with this energy, we really, really need to acknowledge the gendered aspect of this planet. It's really important because traditionally, you know, Mars is seen as a masculine energy. It's the god of war. Men love war. I get it. The symbol of Mars has literally been adopted as the symbol of men. It's a little circle with like an erect penis with a pointy needle at the top of it, as seen on Austin Powers' jumbo jet. So yeah, we get it. Mars is a dude with a dick. J'adore, right? I guess. But regardless of what sexual organs you have, everyone has Mars in their chart. Everyone needs to embrace Martian energy. Everyone needs to find their own Austin Powers. Oh my God, T, it's true. And I think that this is really interesting to consider how Mars shows up in the charts of women and femmes, because so many of us through the years, through society, through the conditioning, have been denied our Mars energy. And the planet that is sex and sexuality and aggression and motivation and desire and drive has been roped off for anyone who isn't like a cis man. And let me tell you, as a cis female, there's nothing I love more than being machismo. I don't do it often. Maybe I don't do it enough. I am a Virgo Mars after all. And we'll talk about the different Mars placements, of course, but I think that everyone should have the chance and the opportunity to tap into their machismo, to feel that sense of like power and pompous purpose, right? To feel strong, to feel like a pigeon puffing out your chest and intimidating the other pigeons trying to get that slice of pizza on the subway, like, hey, bitch, I'm bigger and badder. Fuck off. I'm eating this pizza with the rats. And then the other pigeons are like, oh, I simp to you. And that pigeon's like, yeah, that's That's Mars. Because guess what? We are all that pigeon. All of us have a little freaky subway pigeon, right? We are all the rooster. Those are for my country friends, my country community. You are a rooster. You are a cock. So give yourself permission to actually integrate your aggression and sexual energy and passion in your life, and not just feel like because you identify as a female or a femme that you need to stay in the realm of receptivity and sensitivity and being someone who's relegated to domestic spaces and nurturing. No, honey, you can actually experience the full self-actualization journey rather than stick to a binary that flattens you and makes your life limited and makes the whole go around boring. Everyone contains the full spectrum of emotional and energetic expressions, which is why I hate like the divine feminine, the divine masculine bullshit, because it's not true. Like, we all are multitudes. We contain multitudes. You have an Austin Powers freaky subway pigeon in you, and I want to know who it is. Also, when it comes to the planets in general at large, I like to think of the planets operating more as archetypical forces than gendered personalities, which is the same way that I interpret court cards in tarot. When we pull a queen or a king or a page or a knight, it's not like, oh, this woman is coming into your life or this man is coming into your life. No, it's about the energy that's living inside of you, that lives inside of all of us, regardless of gender, and how we express that. Mars functions in the same way, right? All of the planets do. The planets describe particular energetic frequencies that everyone has the right to embody because they live within us. And Mars is the energy of movement, which is sexuality, it's motivation, it's rage. Yes, it is your radical rage. It's good to be fucking angry. And anger needs to move through the body, right? And if it doesn't, it becomes self-doubt, it becomes resentment, it becomes exhaustion, it becomes anxiety. Desire that is not expressed openly disconnects people from their humanity. It disconnects people from their instincts, from their physicality, from what turns them on, what lights them up. Mars energy wants movement. It wants circulation. In medical astrology, Mars is literally associated with blood and blood pressure. Hemoglobin, honey. Our circulatory system. We need to move. We need to get red in the face. We need to sweat. We need to feel our heart pumping, the blood pumping through our veins. Medical astrologers would have even said that blood or circulatory issues are Mars issues. And they would have literally looked at Mars in your chart and in the sky to figure out how to fix or better support your Mars. But I'm not going to do that at our tea party, even though, did you know that I am the doctor of my friend group? I am literally obsessed with reading medical reports and test results, and everyone always comes to me for second opinions, which is such tea. Did you know that about me? Anyway, it's probably because I have a Mars in Virgo, and we're going to talk about all Mars placements again later on, but I'm just thinking about that now. Yes, it's probably because I have a Mars Virgo that I'm so obsessed with like the minutia of things. Okay, for you, understanding Mars means reclaiming the full spectrum of your experience, including your anger. And guess what, honey? We love anger. We love to be angry. Anger is information. It identifies where something feels wrong to you, where you feel violated, where you feel misaligned. When your anger is acknowledged and directed intentionally, it becomes really specific, energetic directionality for your strength, for your clarity, for your fight, right? For your belief in what you know you deserve. It fuels courage. It gives people the capacity to advocate for themselves, to stand up for others, right? You are strong when you're angry. So think about the moments in your own life when you were really, really angry. What did that anger reveal to you? Mars lives inside those moments. So recalling those instances when you were really, really angry is actually an excellent way to learn more about Mars in your chart and what it's doing for you. Now, before we get into Mars through all 12 zodiac signs, there's one more thing I really, really want to mention, which is that Mars also governs sexual energy. I always say that Mars is everything we thrust into, and that includes the greatest thrusts of all. The sexy, kinky, wild, freaky, deaky, horny thrusts, okay? So your Mars placement in your birth chart is going to reveal a great deal about your libido and what turns you on, like truly at your core, because your sexual energy is linked to your motivation. And again, for many women, sexuality has historically been framed around external validation and approval from the male gaze rather than personal autonomy. We hate this. So understanding your Mars as a female, as a woman, as a femme, is so important because you get to reclaim that dynamic. You can reconnect with your agency. It can bring your attention back to your instincts, to your embodied experience. Your sexuality, no matter what your sexual preference are such an important expression of your vitality. Okay? It's you in there. Hello, it's you. And your sexual energy is a very important tool to harness. Mars is literally the concept of Kundalini energy. In yogic philosophy, Kundalini refers to a powerful life force believed to rest at the base of your spine. And when you awaken it, that energy rises up throughout the body and it activates your vitality and your creativity and your expanded philosophical awareness. It's not just about getting laid, my friends. It's about remembering that you're alive. And you can take that life force energy and apply it to anything your little heart desires, your manifestations, your intentions, your goals, your ambitions, and yeah, also your sexuality. But it's so much bigger than that. Mars is the ignition point of personal power. It lives in the body. It appears in your adrenaline, in your muscle memory, in your sexual chemistry, in your reactions, in your responses. So when Mars energy is flowing freely, you are going to feel more confident. You are going to feel brave. You're going to feel inspired. When it's blocked, that's when you feel stagnant or disconnected or frustrated. And Mars and understanding it and learning it is going to help you figure out how to activate your own life force. So let's get into it. I'm going to go through Mars in all 12 placements. And as you listen, think about your placement, but also think about the placements of people in your life. Your spouse, your crush, your ex, your boss, T. Okay, so let's get into it, starting with Mars in Aries. Mars in Aries is giving home on the range because Mars is happy, safe, and sound in this crazy, wild fire sign. It is so content here. And as of this week, Mars is going to be in Aries in the sky, which means we're all going to get to know this little partnership between Mars and Aries. The energy is raw, it's fast, it's unapologetic, it's nuts. If you have Mars and Aries in your birth chart, you move fast and you figure things out only after you've done them. Okay? This placement is driven by instinct and desire and the thrill of initiation. You want to conquer. You want to win. You want it now. You have a direct relationship with anger. And this is what I love about you so much. I envy Mars in Aries. I really, really do. I love the way that it flares up quickly and then sizzles out just as fast. And when a Mars in Aries is pissed off, everyone knows. There's no denying it. There's no stewing. There's no brooding. There's no passive aggression here. It's all aggression. Mars in Aries is like, oh, I'm pissed. Like they're like stepping up no matter what. And then after they've gotten all like puffed out, once they cool down, it's like it never happened. They don't care. Once Mars in Aries exploded, they're like, I'm over it. I'm off to the next thing. I don't even remember what happened. And this is really interesting because as it relates to Mars in Aries' sexual drive, there is that similar sort of like competitive, physical, impulsive quality to it. Mars in Aries doesn't need an elaborate buildup. They want excitement, they want intensity, they want someone who can match your freak, right? Passion is the Mars in Aries love language, and so is competition. So Mars in Aries is very, very turned on by a challenge and a chase and being like, oh, they want me, I'm going to make it very difficult, or I want them, so I'm going to go for it, right? But obviously Mars in this very, very fiery fire sign, the fieriest fire sign that kicks off the whole fucking zodiac, can get itself into trouble, right? Especially because we live in a world of consequences. Yes, honey, I'm sorry. It's true. Our actions have consequences. So when Mars in Aries can slow down just enough to contain the flame without losing your spark, you can really become unstoppable. You don't have to bulldoze everything to get what you want. When your drive is directed with purpose, Mars in Aries really can have it all and teach us all how to do the damn thing. Coming up next, we are diving into the next batch of Mars signs. We're going to start with Mars in Taurus. This is an interesting one, but every single one of these placements expresses sexuality and anger and motivation in a completely different way. So obviously, we're going to tea about it. We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back, community. Today we are talking about Mars through the signs and why it matters for you. We just talked about why it is important for everyone to work with Martian energy. We talked about Mars in Aries, and now let's keep it rolling. Up next, Mars in Taurus. Mars in Taurus is slow to start, okay? In traditional astrology, Mars is considered to be in its detriment here because, Taurus is like very pastoral. It wants to just like eat flowers and relax and sleep. So it struggles to generate the speed that Mars needs. You feel me? This is fixed earth energy. Taurus is grounded and sensual and steady. It doesn't want to get fired up. It wants to relax. It wants to sip tea with me. It doesn't want to fight. If your Mars is in Taurus, your drive really does come from satisfaction rather than adrenaline. You take your time. But once you decide that something is worth pursuing, you commit. There's no backing down, right? Mars in Taurus does know how to anchor, but it has a little bit of a strange relationship with anger, right? Mars in Taurus has anger building up very slowly. They might not erupt in the moment. Mars in Taurus may appear calm on the surface, maybe even unbothered. But deep down, something is simmering. Uh-oh, what is that? And once Mars in Taurus has reached its limit, they see red, right? Suddenly it is a bullfight. You are in the ring with them. The kettle is whistling, baby. Mars in Taurus anger is scary, truly. And they don't explode often, but when they do, truly everyone should run for the hills. Because they are so angry. And unlike Mars and Aries, they don't let it go. They're angry forever. They're angry for life. Now, shifting gears, let's talk about Mars in Taurus sexually. Mars in Taurus craves physical pleasure, period. They want comfort. They want connection. They want linger. They want taste. They want yearn, right? They want to feel. Mars in Taurus is very, very sensual, and it's grounded and embodied and intentional, and it loves nothing more than taking a bath with someone. Tea. Now, as it relates to your motivation, the challenge for Mars in Taurus is not getting stuck. Mars in Taurus can really resist change even when it's necessary. Mars in Taurus can dig its hooves out of fear, right? Out of pride, out of loyalty. They know what they like. They don't want to have to make any changes. But ultimately, true strength emerges from thoughtful commitment. And a Mars in Taurus drive becomes incredibly powerful when they learn to trust that stability and growth can exist at the same time. And that, most importantly, it is okay to change your mind. Mars in Gemini wants stimulation. So much stimulation. It's giving iPad kid. You feel me? This is a mutable air energy. It's quick. It's witty. It's restless. If your Mars is in Gemini, your drive lives in your mind, okay? You want information, you want conversations, you want options. You are energized by learning something new or jumping between projects that spark your curiosity. Mars in Gemini is not linear, right? But curiosities are like whack-a-mole. And when we're doing whack-a-mole, we got to keep it moving, right? So there is an inherent motion to this placement. And for Mars in Gemini, anger shows up often through words. This is a Mars in Gemini that's ruled at its core by Mercury. Gemini is mercurial. So Mars in Gemini can argue, it can debate, it can deflect with humor, or it can say the most biting, sarcastic, nasty, deep-cutting thing that you have ever heard in your life. And you're like, wait, did you mean that? And they're like, no. And you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? What did I just see? That's the Mars in Gemini way. Now, when it comes to sex, Mars in Gemini's biggest turn on is mental connection. They want to be talked to. They want to be teased. They want to be engaged. They're playful, experimental, they're curious. They're always down to try something new. Boredom or anything routine is the ultimate turnoff. Mars in Gemini wants new. They want novelty. They want freaky deaky. The challenge is that Mars in Gemini can be kind of scattered, right? They're fantastic at starting things, but finishing them, meh. Chasing new is what fuels this placement, but constant distraction can make it hard for this placement to stay committed. But unfortunately, people do like commitment, just broadly in the world at large. People don't really like when someone hops around and changes their mind. So it's really important that with a Mars in Gemini, you know how to keep your word, you know how to honor the goals and the partnerships and the loyalty that you establish, because that way people are going to want to help you, and they're going to think that you're fun, and they're going to really recognize that you are such an incredible and important force to be reckoned with. And through that, all of your cravings are going to be satisfied, and you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings in the meantime. Mars in Cancer is a little bit of an outcast. It is. It's a little misunderstood. It's giving side bang emo. This is Mars in its fall, which means that it does not express itself in the typical direct Martian way. But that's okay. It's okay. It means that Mars's power moves through emotion and intuition and protection. Mars energy in Cancer is deeply loyal, and it's super, super protective, and it cares very much about emotional awareness. Instead of charging ahead impulsively, Mars in Cancer really can feel out the emotional temperature before making a move, right? It tries to understand like who its people are, read the room, what's safe, what's not safe. And ultimately, the drive comes from that sensitivity. Mars and Cancer people are willing to go to war for the people that they love, but also like they're kind of annoyed that they have to in the first place, right? Which is also reasonable. Why does anyone have to go to war? We hate war. Well, it's Mars, right? And anger for Mars in Cancer people can be a little odd because it is mostly going to manifest through passive-aggressive behavior. It's the crab. Crabs walk on their sides, right? They don't walk straight on. So our anger in this placement can become internalized, especially if it wasn't safe or welcome for someone with Mars in Cancer to express their anger or frustration when they were little, right? But when Mars in Cancer learns how to channel their sensitivities into advocacy, it can really be like a beast. What I mean by that is that Cancer is still a cardinal sign, and all of the cardinal signs are expert manifestors. So it does have that spirit of initiation built into it. Sexually, Mars in Cancer is drawn to closeness. It's drawn to emotional intimacy. So trust matters, loyalty matters. This placement wants a partner who is willing to be real, to take emotional risks, to take sexual risks. Hello. And once Mars in Cancer can feel that safety, and that safety is, proven, it's going to be deeply devoted and deeply passionate. And I swear to you, also very, very kinky. Don't ask me how I know. I just know. Fundamentally, Mars in Cancer needs emotional safety, to take risks, to feel safe, to do the thing. But when it has that, Mars in Cancer can do anything it wants to do and really, really can turn dreams into reality in the blink of an eye. Mars in Leo is bold. It's charismatic. It is unapologetically driven to shine. If you ever meet someone and you're like, they must be a Leo, and then it's not their sun, it's not their rising, it's not their moon, see if they have a Mars in Leo. I bet they fucking do. Because this placement, no matter what is going on with the rest of the chart, is so in your face. It is so loud. It's the sun, right? It's the sun and Mars together. So it's really energetic. It is really, really, really here to make its presence known. Mars in Leo thrives on that recognition. And that motivation fuels the things that it does best, which is creativity and leadership and courage. When Mars in Leo is balanced, it leads with its heart and its spine, because those are the two places that Leo rules. It knows how to uplift others. It creates spaces where people feel inspired and energized. But, when Mars in Leo feels overlooked or unappreciated, that egoic pride can really take over and get the better of this sign. Anger is going to rise from that feeling of being disrespected or being dismissed. It's very ruffled feathers. It's very how dare you? How dare you? I mean, Leo is literally the sun, right? So how can you turn off the sun, right? How dare you turn off the sun? That's an eclipse, right? And shit, we know how an eclipse feels. It can be scary. And that's how Mars in Leo feels every time it feels misunderstood. Speaking of feelings, sexually, Mars in Leo needs to be adored, period. And it wants to give that same level of devotion back. It's expressive and it's passionate and it's generous with its energy. Mars in Leo thrives when it feels sexy, when it feels like the most erotic lion in the jungle. It wants a little theatricality. It wants a little stage. God forbid Mars in Leo wants to show off a little, okay? Ultimately, Mars in Leo, with its charisma and its riz, and yes, even its ego, has what it takes to be an extraordinary leader. Mars in Leo has the capacity to really champion others, to take bold, creative risks, and to build something unforgettable. And that is its mission in life. Mars in Virgo is precise and intentional and extremely productive, busy, busy bee, always working on something. In fact, if you're like, Aliza, haha, why are you the way you are? Why are you this way? What is your deal? Well, honey, it's because I have a Mars in Virgo, and it is so obnoxiously dominant in my chart. I feel like it is low-key, like the secret boss and the evil genius behind everything that I do and everything I dread. And if you feel me, if you relate, you're going to get it, okay? Mars in Virgo channels that drive and motivation into themes of improvement and refinement and mastery. Mars in Virgo wants to do something, and it wants to do it well. It wants to do it perfectly. Dun, dun, dun. Because nothing is ever perfect. Okay, so that is where Mars in Virgo gets tripped up and starts to slow us down. Mars in Virgo can get so obsessed with wanting everything to be perfect that it has a hard time even taking the first step to make it happen. This placement finds satisfaction through solving problems and building systems and staying busy. So the motivation comes from doing, but the challenge with that inner critic is so frustrating because Mars in Virgo can become so focused on perfection that it doesn't satisfy itself by doing the thing, because Mars in Virgo is like, oh, I'll do it when X, Y, and Z are done. But in order for X, Y, and Z to happen, there needs to be a first move, right? So it becomes this sort of catch-22 where Mars in Virgo wants everything to be right, but it can't be right until it starts, but it can't start until everything is right. You know what I mean? Also, anger, a little bit weird, right? It leaks out through irritation or micromanagement or frustration with inefficiency. So it's very important for our Mars in Virgo friends, and a little note to self here, to remember what we can and cannot control, and to try to resist the urge to control things that we cannot control, because it's a losing battle and it's annoying. But these themes of control can also really turn up sexually for this placement too, and become this sort of like kinky little turn on, right? Sexually, Mars in Virgo wants to experiment with power dynamics because it is an opportunity for them to work through those themes of control and surrender and dominance and submission in safe ways. But this doesn't need to be relegated to the bedroom, because life is actually all about that play too. And when Mars in Virgo remembers that nothing is actually that serious, they can channel that incredible Mercury-ruled action to communicate their ideas and really make people rally behind their motivation. And we love it, right? That's great. But, they got to start. They got to just get started, and then it's all going to happen. There is still a lot more to come. After the break, we are going to explore these final Mars placements, Mars in Libra through Mars in Pisces, and I'll wrap up with a few takeaways that definitely are going to change how you do everything. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi again, my beautiful community. We are talking about Mars through the zodiac sign. So if you have Mars in Libra through Pisces, Mars in any of the signs between Libra and Pisces, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, you are in luck, because we're back. And we are going to talk about what Mars says about your ego, libido, and how you put it all together and harness that radical rage. But also, don't forget, I invite you to listen to the people in your life, their Mars signed too, to send it to them, because it's important that you know and that everybody knows what this energy looks like individually, because we're all so different, right? We all do things differently, and that is what astrology is all about. So let's get back into it, okay? Mars in Libra can surprise people, okay? Because Mars is in its detriment here, which can make it difficult, but it's not broken. It's just different. Mars in Libra is all about diplomacy and charm and careful consideration. Instead of charging forward, it really wants to observe the dynamics. It wants to understand the balance of power before making a move. Motivation is very relationally driven. Mars in Libra wants connection and collaboration. It wants a shared goal. It wants a shared vision. So the best fight for Mars in Libra is one where they are fighting for something with someone else together, right? That you don't feel like you are alone in that pursuit. The downside is that it means you're dependent on other people. You can spend so much time weighing every option that the moment to act passes you by, and you also are going to find yourself in a position where you can get disappointed by people and their whims, by other people as they change their mind. I always say that Mars is best, in an emergency situation when it's like, we got to get out of here. But if you have a Mars in Libra, it could be like, we got to get out of here. When are you leaving? Where are we going right now? Or which exit are you taking? And it's like, no, bitch, leave right now. Fire, fire, fire. You cannot wait around to always have a buddy. Sometimes you just need to do things on your own. Anger for a Mars in Libra is going to surface when something feels unfair. Libra is the sign of justice, right? So you may really try to keep the peace, but once a boundary is crossed, Mars in Libra can actually get very assertive about this. In this very specific area where something feels like they were disappointed, they were let down, someone betrayed them, that is when Mars in Libra is really going to find that rage within. And on a sexual level, Mars in Libra is very charming, it's very seductive, it's very attuned to chemistry. But again, it's very relational. So it's not so much even about the physical act of fornication as much as it is about that energetic exchange. So for Mars and Libra people, like they need to flirt, period. They need to feel like sexy and desired and beautiful, which could make Mars and Libra monogamous partners very frustrated. But it's not about actually having sex. It's about like just feeling that connection. And that's really important for a Mars in Libra. When Mars in Libra learns to honor its desires as much as everyone else's needs and validation too, it really can become incredibly influential because it knows how to turn on the charm in order to bring something to fruition. It knows how to align itself in partnerships that can convert into real power. It knows how to take that air sign energy and actually build something really meaningful around the type of connections that exist in the world, how to sort of connect the dots wherever it needs to go. So Mars in Libra is fundamentally super, super motivated by how it can scale using its relationships, using its connections, and also using its finesse to get where it wants to go. Mars in Scorpio is intense and magnetic and relentless and terrifying. I'm kidding, but I'm actually not. This is a really, really spooky dooky placement. It's terrifying. This is one of Mars's traditional places. So before the telescope was invented and those deep outer planets were discovered, Mars was the ruler of both Aries and Scorpio. So there is this deep connection between Mars and Scorpio. But unlike Mars and Aries, which is very reactive and it's very in your face, Scorpio is all about the strategy. Mars in Scorpio does not waste its energy. No, no, no. Every action has intention behind it. Everything has been planned for a long, long time. And motivation for Mars in Scorpio comes from this type of depth. When something matters to a Mars in Scorpio, they pursue it with incredible focus and determination. They will never back down. This placement can endure almost anything, whatever it is. If the goal feels meaningful, if they want to avenge something, oh my God, Mars and Scorpio loves revenge. They are on that path, right? Once they have decided to do a thing, they are going to commit to it completely and forevermore. So naturally, anger runs very, very deep with this placement because Mars and Scorpio remembers everything that has ever happened to them. Betrayal, manipulation, dishonesty, all of it, right? And it doesn't even have to be something on a huge scale. Anything that felt like it was a breach of trust for Mars and Scorpio, that person then goes on some freaky invisible list where they're like, I can never trust them again. Now I must use them. Right? It's true. It is true. I have to say that even though for us who don't have Mars in Scorpio, that's terrifying, this is also Mars doing Mars things. Mars is very, very happy in Scorpio because Mars is aggressive, right? Mars wants to take action. And this is a type of action to take. Revenge is a type of action. Mars in Scorpio has the ability to burn down whatever isn't working. Mars in Scorpio can also rebuild. Mars in Scorpio can also figure out how to rise from the ashes and to transform systems to make them more meaningful and more just and more equitable. On a sexual level, this Mars is all about intensity and seduction. They want emotional fusion and vulnerability and trust. They want someone mind, body, spirit, which is scary, but also hot, right? It's giving Wuthering Heights. Activating that sexual energy is so important for Mars and Scorpio because Scorpio is literally associated with the sex organs in medical astrology. So finding safe places to express that lust and libido and desire and yearning is great for this placement always, because it helps someone with Mars and Scorpio understand how to translate their passions and power. Ultimately, Mars and Scorpio truly is a powerhouse, which means that we can all benefit from learning how this placement harnesses its energy, because it does so unapologetically that, it's an inspiration to us all. Mars in Sagittarius is a wildfire. This placement, the last fire sign of the zodiac, runs on freedom and curiosity and the pursuit of meaning. People with Mars in Sagittarius don't just want action, they want adventure. They want to live. They want to be alive, right? Life is most exciting when Mars in Sagittarius is exploring new territory or chasing a big idea or expanding its worldview or arguing with someone at the dinner table about politics. It's true. Motivation here comes from the limitless possibilities that exist. They need movement and growth and a sense that something larger is unfolding. Repetition drains Mars in Sagittarius energy in a very detrimental way. Boredom is literally a death sentence for this sign. This placement thrives when it's learning, when it's traveling, when it's pushing the boundaries of what feels possible. And anger shows up very bluntly. Mars in Sagittarius has strong beliefs, has strong convictions, and when those feel threatened or worse, doubted, questioned, the reactions are fast and they're outspoken and they're fucking loud, okay? But the fire doesn't linger for long, because once that moment passes, Mars and Sag is like, forget it, who cares? Even though in its wake, everything has been burned down. On a sexual level, Mars in Sagittarius craves excitement and spontaneity. It's playful, it's curious, it's experimental. It wants to have fun, and it wants to have fun often with multiple people in multiple ways. That doesn't mean that Mars in Sagittarius can't do the monogamy thing, but in a monogamous relationship, it does need, to keep things fun and interesting and bright and spontaneous. When this placement channels that enthusiasm towards meaningful directions and paths forward that are not just about scorched earth, the Mars in Sagittarius drive is really, really unstoppable, and also exciting to think about what possibilities could exist and how many ways we can find motivation for ourselves, for life, even for the collective. Mars in Capricorn is the exalted placement for this sign, for this planet, which means that Mars is functioning extremely well in Capricorn, most optimized, most ambitious, truly max the fuck out here, okay? This placement knows how to use its energy strategically. Mars in Capricorn people don't rush. They plan, they calculate, they play the long game, they're deliberate, they're just endlessly motivated. And for them, that endless well of motivation comes from success and ambition and achievement. They want to build something real. They want to build something lasting. They want to build the pyramids of fucking Egypt. This Mars understands discipline and persistence and even delayed gratification. While other placements burn out quickly, Mars in Capricorn keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. It's like the Energizer Bunny of your own success story, right? Instead of beating a little drum, it's scaling, climbing the fucking mountain. And everyone is can you come down? It's lunchtime. And they're no. Anger for a Mars in Capricorn tends to stay controlled because that's part of their power play, right? Instead of exploding, Mars in Capricorn channels its frustration into productivity. Obstacles are part of what motivate Mars in Capricorn. Challenges are their fuel. The drive is steady and relentless. Not to say that Mars in Capricorn doesn't explode or mismanage their anger. But when they do, the real downside of it is that it's almost clinical, right? Mars in Capricorn is like, you have interrupted my progress and flow, and therefore you are dead to me. You have gotten in my way. You have made it difficult for me to achieve my goal. Therefore, I am no longer friends with you. I hate you for the rest of my life. On a sexual level, Mars is very physical in Capricorn. There is that emphasis on control and stamina and satisfaction built up through time. I do think about the fact that Capricorn in tarot is the devil card, which is like such a sexy beast, right? Truly. And Mars in Capricorn is kind of that like sexy, freaky, bondage-loving vibe because it wants a safe place to experiment with power dynamics and surrender and submitting to things. So Mars in Capricorn, very, very kinky. Very, 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 very kinky. Mars in Capricorn reminds all of us that direction without having drive to back it up is irrelevant, right? That we need to be able to have a plan, and we also need to have a purpose in order to do anything. Real success is earned through patience and persistence and planning and never, ever, ever giving up. Like even from the grave, Mars in Capricorn is still trying to make it happen. I swear to you, they will never stop. Mars in Aquarius operates like an electrical current, which is amazing because electricity, hello, we love it, we need it. But a hot wire, an electrical wire that came down in a storm, deadly. I mean, have you ever seen that movie from the 90s, Ice Storm? So freaky. It's about swingers in the suburbs. Actually, the whole movie is very, very Mars in Aquarius coded. So if you're curious about seeing an entire Ang Lee film about Mars in Aquarius, may I recommend The Ice Storm? I think it's from 1997. Anyway, Mars in Aquarius is air sign energy, right? So it's motivated by ideas and individuality and the desire to challenge the status quo. Mars in Aquarius doesn't follow the rules. Definitely not. It actually delights on ripping up the rule book and being like, this won't do. I'm going to write my own manifesto. So naturally, motivation comes from innovation and vision. Mars in Aquarius is energized by concepts that push society forward, by questioning outdated systems. Traditional authority is not really impressive to Mars in Aquarius. They don't care about the hierarchy. They don't care about climbing the corporate ladder. They care about independence and doing things their own way. So anger for Mars in Aquarius is kind of odd. Instead of explosive reactions, Mars in Aquarius responds by rebelling or detaching or like also shutting down and not caring. When something feels restrictive or unjust, this placement pushes back against the entire system and is like, actually, we're not doing it. I'm so angry. I'm so angered by it that I am going to remove myself from the situation and just judge it from bird's eye view. Now, on a sexual level, this Mars can be very experimental. It can be very curious. It's very turned on by the mind. But it is not particularly physical, and it is not very readily emotionally available either. There is this cool cerebral quality to the way that it engages with its desire, where it is like clinical, right? Which makes sense because Mars in Aquarius loves playing doctor. Is that tea? Is that a breakthrough for you? It's true. Ultimately, this placement teaches us to take action in unexpected ways and to use our anger as insight, to step away from a situation, to not get so emotionally invested in it, and to consider all sides so that we can be strategic in how we want to create a new system, right? How to fight for futures that have never existed before, but that we as a collective deserve to experience. Mars in Pisces is whipped up water, which, yes, baby, means that this placement is very oceanic and very tidal. Mars in Pisces doesn't force, it flows. Does the ocean force? No, it is a force, right? This placement operates through intuition and imagination and emotional awareness. And there is a sort of volatility to that, right? It could be a fun day at the beach, or it could be a tsunami, honey. Motivation comes from inspiration and meaning for Mars and Pisces people. When something resonates deeply with their values, with their creativity, with their psychic powers, they can pour enormous amounts of energy into it. But when something feels empty or disconnected, when you feel disconnected from your own intuition, you just don't even know what to do with it. You might not know why you stopped being interested in something, but suddenly it just like disappeared from your psyche, from your agenda. And through time, often Mars and Pisces people realize that their psychic instinct was picking up on something that wasn't yet tangible in the physical world. So it's very important for Mars and Pisces people to trust their intuition, but it's also very important for Mars and Pisces people to recognize that emotions aren't fact, right? Anger can be confusing. Mars in Pisces may avoid confrontation. They may internalize their frustration. They may even turn against themselves in this very self-sacrificial kind of way. But on the flip side, Mars in Pisces is amazing at expressing emotion through art and music, storytelling. These are the best ways for Mars in Pisces to channel its energy through the creative pursuit. So if you have this placement, like, you better identify as an artist because you are at your core an artist. On a sexual level, this placement is sensual, imaginative, fantastical. Connection is about transcending. It's about getting lost. It's about melting into each other. It's another Wuthering Heights moment for us. It's about yearning. It's about lusting. There are no boundaries in the ocean, baby, right? It's about just sort of like, getting lost in the fantasy of something. Mars in Pisces teaches us that strength can move through compassion and creativity and intuition. And dreaming about something is a very reasonable way of making something happen. Emotions are incredibly inspiring tools for change, and we have every right to have our emotions, including the emotion of anger and rage. And when we know how to harness that adequately, we can really do something to make the world a better place. Before we go, I want to leave you with a few final questions for you to chew on, or should I say, sip on. After all, this is our tea party. Question number 1, how do you relate to your Mars? And how present is that energy in your life? What does your anger say about your values? And then building on that, what do your sexual turn-ons say about your unique energetic pulse? Where in your life do you feel the most energized and passionate and turned on by what you're doing? And how can you lean into that even more? And that concludes our first week of Astrology and our very first Wednesday tea party. What do you think about today's episode? What resonated? What did you learn? What breakthroughs did you have? Let me know in the comments, in your 5-star reviews, honey. And of course, please tell your friends about Astrology with Aliza Kelly. This is an independent show. It's a brand new show. It makes such a difference in helping us build our community. I'll be back on Monday with your weekly brew, obs including your horoscopes, and then next Wednesday we'll have another tea party, okay? So make sure you tune in every Monday and every Wednesday for all new episodes of Astrology with Aliza Kelly on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.